To the women watching, have you ever done anything like this?
Have you ever done this at school? Try to stealthily open up a pad so no one would know that you're on your period. Or how about hiding various products up your sleeve so no one would know that you're on your period? When I was at school, no one ever wanted to say the word period a lot of the time. Like it's this dirty secret, something to be ashamed of, when in reality, half the population menstruates and experiences periods.
I remember those days. Once someone saw a pad that fell out of my bag and started screaming that I was in my period and everyone laughed at me. I still don't understand why they were like that. I got to the point where my teachers would refuse to let me go to the toilet when I was bleeding through my clothes, so I told them I'd change my tampon in class if not. I hated the way school dealt with human rights and biological functions. Menstruation is the only blood that doesn't come from violence, yet it's the only one treated as disgusting. Men's misogyny and so many women's internalized misogyny introduced this stigma surrounding menstruation and has become a deeply ingrained problem in our society. It's a natural bodily function, yet it's treated as a taboo subject, forcing countless women and girls to suffer in silence. We all need to unlearn period shame as quickly as possible so that things like this will stop happening. A 30-year-old man from Maharashtra, India, took the life of his 12-year-old sister over suspicion that she had a physical relationship with someone after he noticed the bloodstains of her first period. The girl was unaware of menstruation and was unable to explain the reason for the bloodstains on her clothes, which led to her brother alleging that she had intercourse with someone. Based on this assumption, he physically abused her for 3 days before she was declared dead. So many layers to this story. Men's control over women's bodies and sexual functions. Men's complete ignorance of women's physiological anatomy. Men's belief they have the right to harm women who have sex outside of their permission, and their belief that young girls can consent to sex. This is one of the many reasons why menstrual awareness and education are so important. The shame and secrecy attached to periods are not just unnecessary, they're harmful. Chupadi is an ancient tradition practiced in some rural parts of Nepal. It involves banishing women, often young girls, to mud huts or sheds for the duration of their period, or even longer. It is believed they will otherwise bring their family bad luck or ill health. The menstruating girls and women are also forbidden to take part in normal family activities and not allowed to touch other people and household items. In many cases, they are also barred from entering temples or attending religious functions. The practice also has a detrimental effect on female education, as girls in some places are not allowed to go to school during their period. The huts for menstruating women, were usually made of mud and straw, are generally unsafe and expose the women to health hazards and life-threatening situations, including extreme temperatures, snake bites, suffocation due to poor ventilation, and sexual abuse. A 21-year-old Nepalese young woman passed away of suffocation from smoke inhalation while banished to an abandoned hut during her period. Her name was Parbati Bogati, and she isolated herself in an abandoned house on Wednesday evening, in keeping with a centuries-old taboo that declares menstruating women impure. As the temperature dropped below freezing, she tried to keep herself warm by apparently burning wood and clothing. By the next morning, her legs were charred and she had passed away. Her death comes just weeks after the death of a mother and 2 children in similar circumstances. In the past 13 years, at least 15 deaths have been recorded of women who were sleeping in the huts. In Nepal's Supreme Court banned Chupadi, agreeing that it is a human rights violation. Then, in 2017, the nation's parliament criminalized the practice, stipulating a 3-month jail sentence or a 3,000 rupee fine, or both, for anyone forcing a woman to follow the custom. However, these measures failed to put an end to the practice, which has continued to flourish in parts of the country because of the ingrained superstitions and taboos concerning menstruation. The law alone is not enough to get rid of Chupadi. Especially in areas where religion is deeply rooted, it is extra difficult to wipe out menstrual huts. In some places, women themselves try to stop the police from demolishing these sheds. due to the deep-rooted fear that something bad will happen if they don't adhere to the custom. To stop the practice, it is necessary to change people's behavior and mindsets by educating them about menstruation and the misconceptions surrounding it. This education has to start at school. It's crucial to teach kids that menstruation is natural and debunk the myths. Organizations like Action Aid and Restless Development Nepal are working to help solve this problem. Here's the personal experience of a woman who went through severe period stigma. Feminist Didi. I grew up outside Nepal. I was locked in a room for 4 days and made to eat and sleep separately and not allowed to touch anyone. I was 11 years old and felt dirty and shameful for the mere fact of being born a female. The fact that this practice still exists, despite being legally banned in Nepal, speaks volume about how deeply rooted misogyny is in our culture and how women are still seen as second-class citizens. And people, mostly men, who pin this on lack of education. While that sentiment holds true, I have witnessed and experienced firsthand how middle-class, educated families also practice nachuni, untouchable, where menstruating women are not to touch others, especially males, during their period. Nowadays, I don't tell my family when I'm menstruating and have participated in many pujas, religious ceremonies, and go to temple, because if there is a God, I don't think they give a shot if someone with blood in their pants is visiting them. This is Gloria Awoba, a Kenyan politician who arrived at the parliament in white trousers stained with fake menstrual blood as a protest against period poverty and stigma on February 2023. Several senators then interrupted the session to protest her quote-unquote inappropriate dress code, with some calling it indecent. So she was asked to leave. I bet if she showed up in a sweat-stained suit, no one would have asked her to leave. Both normal bodily functions. But of course, it's the bodily function that only women and girls experience that gets called inappropriate. The period stain, which was actually just artificial coloring, had been a part of her efforts to raise awareness around the issue. In response, Gloria Awoba, the nominated senator, said she was disappointed to be questioned over an accident that is natural. I think I'm dressed as per the standing orders. I'm covered, I have a suit, I have collars, I'm just short of a tie, she told the Senate, according to the BBC. I'm shocked someone can stand here and say the House has been disgraced because a woman has had her period, she said. The Speaker eventually asked her to leave the building and change before she could re-enter. Unfortunately, I have been kicked out because I'm on my period, and we are not supposed to show our period when we are on our period. And that is the kind of period stigma girls and women are having outside, Awoba told journalists outside. Instead of changing, she then visited a school to distribute sanitary pads to girls. Period poverty is a serious issue in Kenya, with less than 65% of Kenyan women able to afford sanitary products, according to 2020 statistics from Menstrual Hygiene Day. Others have to resort to using toilet paper, pieces of blanket or cloth as substitutes, or even having to resort to prostitution to pay for period products. And it's not just in African countries. Over 500 million women and girls worldwide do not have access to proper menstrual products. We can't solve this issue if we don't talk about it. We can all do our part to help stop period poverty and period stigma by simply talking about it, spreading awareness, calling on world leaders and governments to invest in menstrual health education for children to learn about it and push them to make menstrual products free. Consider donating sanitary pads or cups to your local food bank, or donating to a charity such as Plan International. Speaking of pads, did you know that the average woman will dispose of 11,000 menstrual products in her lifetime? On average, litter pickers record almost 2 million period waste items in the UK. There's a much better sustainable alternative we can use for our periods, and that's menstrual cups or menstrual discs. It's not only sustainable, but it costs less overall and is far more comfortable than a pad and doesn't risk giving you toxic shock syndrome like tampons do. Feel free to pause and read if you're still not convinced and want to know more about it. The last thing I want to talk about is how men constantly try to deny the intense period cramps women go through. They always try to gaslight us, that the pain can't be that bad and that women are just being dramatic. Yet here's men experiencing the same level of pain the average woman experiences on her period and not being able to handle it.
How's that feel?
Great. Feels weird. What's it at right now?
100.
Oh. It tickles. Why does it feel like a massage gun? I'd rather have this than the period cramps.
Oh.
I feel great. This is fantastic.
So I should turn it up.
No.
Would you like to hold my hand?
Yeah, sure. Oh, this is nothing. Yeah. You don't want to go up at all? No.
Wow, holy snap! Ow! Damn, that hurts! I think I gotta turn it up for you then. We're at 80%.
You should keep it there. Yeah, give a smile to the camera. How much is that level? 70. That's 70? Yeah.
We have to start open, honest conversations about menstruation. Empower women and girls to manage their periods with dignity and end the shame associated with something that half of the world's population experiences. Let's reject the absurd notion that menstruation is something to hide or be ashamed of. Instead, let's embrace it as a sign of health and strength, challenging the status quo until the world finally accepts that periods are just a part of life, not something to be silenced or shamed. Thank you so much if you watched to this point. Please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.